Alright, hey everyone, it's Lucky. Welcome back to another TF2 commentary video. I'm watching some of the footage right now. I'm actually, I'm not really good at Spy, but, this is it's weird, because I still end up doing, decent as him, despite me playing the game, really bad. I'm bumbling my way to a ton of backstabs and stuff, and it's really funny to see. One thing this is super funny to me. I really don't understand. I've been waiting for the bots to be gone for 5 years. For 5 whole years of my life, I've been playing this game, and it's just been, I've been like, oh man, when are they gonna fix it? Are they gonna fix it? When's gonna happen? And then as soon as I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to play TF2 Classic or whatever for a bit, and I'm just going to give this game a break. And then I go to Europe for 3 weeks, and then they just fix the game. You can just play it now. And that's really funny to me. That's kind of a silly thing. It did kind of suck though, because I was in Europe, I was in France or something, and that's why I'm playing the Spy today. This is a themed video. I'm gonna be complaining about the French, so I decided to play Spy. But yeah, no, I've just been waiting. I've waited 5 years, and then they decide to fix it when I'm a week into a 3-week vacation. So, everyone was uploading videos and, playing this game again. And I was just sitting in, this beautiful French village. And I'm just on my phone, just mourning the fact that I can't play TF2. I didn't do that. I'm not that addicted or anything. But yeah, anyways, I just got back from Europe a few days ago. And, you know, I've been settling back in. We did a road trip. So I was pretty much just on the move for 3 weeks straight, so it's nice to kind of sit down, start working again on, videos, and also, continuing my backlog of games, which has been nice. But, yeah, I think that's really funny. My last video is just it's completely outdated at this point. Forget everything I said in that one. They fixed the game, so I'm back. What's even funnier... Now, what's even funnier about this whole deal is the TF2 comic, the 7th comic, because I've been waiting even longer for that. Or, well, yeah, it was 2017, so that's what... Oh, no way, it's been 7 years. It's been 7 years since the last comic... Or we're coming up to it, because I think it came out in the summer, if I'm not wrong. But, man, that's crazy. This whole thing's weird. But I was in the airport, the Paris airport, on my way home, and with the time difference, because they announced we got news of the comic. It was 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that was when everyone was asleep, but because I was in Europe, it was it's 8 a.m. or something. I was up. And so, I see, a few people post about it. And, oh, hey, they just, we have confirmation of the final comic. And there was, basically no engagement. So I was just sitting in, an airport, freaking out. And I told my brother about it. I was like, oh my god! They're making it! It's finally, after all these years. However, a big part of this video, you might be wondering, wow, this you're gonna make a video, you're gonna make a whole video, and you're just gonna talk about a trip to Europe instead of I don't know, the game you're playing or anything related to it. And the answer to that is that I need to slander the French. I hate the French now. It's a common trend. It's horrible. Basically, we had this horrible event happen when we were traveling home. So this was after I was excited to get home because that meant I could play TF2 again, and that's literally my top priority in life. As soon as the game got fixed, I was like, yeah, I gotta go home. I gotta keep playing it. Basically, we had I think probably not the worst. It's not like it was a super big deal, and like, you hear nightmare stories of like flying in airports and stuff like that, but like we had a pretty bad experience. We had our first bad experience because we've flown on air, like we've flown, the furthest we've flown, like probably Hawaii, and we also flew out west in the U.S., the Southwest, and those were pretty long flights, and we had to change flights a few times, but they were good experiences. What happened with us leaving France was we got ready. We were in Nice, which is southern. If you didn't know, it's like southern France, and we went to the airport bright and early. It was like 6 a.m. It was around like 6 a.m. And we went to check in, and we were just kind of standing at the desk, and the receptionist, or the person who sort of checks you in, she was kind of like just staring at the computer and like trying to get information, and like she was speaking French and all that, and this and that, so I could barely understand because my French is not that good. But we were standing in line for like upwards of probably like it was close to 40 minutes. Like we were just standing there trying to get our baggage like checked in and all that. And until eventually she told us, she said, "Oh yeah, your flight's been overbooked." Yeah, like I'm sorry, but we overbooked your flight. And like that's like and on paper, there's nothing too wrong with an overbooked flight. It's like it's annoying. It's like I wish they wouldn't do it, but like it's whatever. Like they're gonna help compensate at least. So the deal is my brother and I were going to fly on the original flight, and my parents were sent onto a new flight. Except basically we started in Nice, we were flying to Paris, then we were flying to New York, and then we were flying home from New York. So we had to go on 3 different planes, and the first flight from Nice to Paris, there was nothing changed. We all got on the flight, and we flew to Paris and whatnot, and then after that my brother and I went on our way to our gate, and my parents they went to their gate, which was on the other side of the airport. So we departed from each other, and like traveling on your own, flying on your own, like it's always intimidated me. But, like, I can do it. Like, it stresses me out a little bit, because I'm like, oh, well, if something goes wrong, like, a flight gets delayed or something like that, it's like we have to meet up with our parents and stuff in locations, and I don't know, there was a bit of stress, but there was nothing, like, too bad. So we were just at the gate waiting. I found the announcement for the final TF2 comic, which was, like, really funny at the time, and I'm so happy that that's happening. But we got on our flight, we flew to New York, and there wasn't much wrong. It was a pretty good flight. But then we got to New York, and this is when it starts to get really funny. So I mean, like so far, flight gets overbooked. Nothing too wrong with that. It's a little annoying, but it's whatever. We went to, we had to get an Uber. We landed in the JFK airport, and we had to go to the, this other airport that I don't remember the name of, but it was a good, like, 30 minutes away. So we got in an Uber, and we drove all the way, to the new airport. And my brother and I got out, we got our luggage, and we walked into the airport. And we didn't know how to check in. So that was a good first, test of our knowledge. We're like, okay. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let's go to ask one of the, sort of, what is it, like the help desk? We went to the help desk, and I was like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's a lie. I just didn't know how to check in. I know how to, like, I knew what to do, but I didn't, like, know how to get our like boarding tickets and like our luggage put away and all that. So I went to someone and he was like, okay, I'll help you. So we went over to a terminal, and he was like trying to look up our flight, and that took like it took like 10 minutes, and then like 10 minutes later, he's like somberly looks up at me and says, "Your flight isn't today, it's tomorrow." And for a minute I was freaking out because I was like, wait, hold on, what? What do you mean? What, our flight, it was supposed to be in like 3 hours. What do you mean it's tomorrow? And then he looked, he said, "I'm sorry, you have to come back tomorrow." And that's not good, because we didn't have anywhere to sleep in New York. We didn't have anywhere to go. Like, we weren't, like, it was so early that they weren't letting us into, like, we couldn't just sleep in the airport or whatever like that, like, at, like, a gate or whatever, like, waiting for a flight. We had to, like, actually come back the next day. And, like, our parents were, like, not with us. So it was one of those things where it's just, like, we're supposed to meet them in, a small town about, like, like an hour from our hometown. So we still had to, like, meet up with them. So we got really, like, stressed out, and there is nowhere. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed, like, any airport in New York. There is no benches to sit on unless you're in, like, the terminal. Like, we couldn't sit anywhere. It was weird. So what we did is we ended up having to, like, sit, like, we walked upstairs and we sat on these, like, metal, like, pipes. Like, with all of our luggage, like, our carry-ons and everything, we just sat on some metal, like, poles and tried to contact our parents. And it was so... we were both pretty stressed at the time. So, right as we were walking up, I get a text from my mom, and she's basically like, "Is this your flight? This is your flight." And it was just like a cancellation notice, so they canceled our flight and had moved us onto a flight for the next day. And so then we got into contact, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we have to stay in New York for the night now. So my parents worked on setting us up with a hotel. And they were like, okay, so we'll fly home, and we'll come and get you at the airport tomorrow, and it's not a big deal. And we're like, okay, the worst of it is behind us. You know, we're recovering, and all this and that. So we after this, we had to go to the hotel room, and I was stupid, because originally I wanted to walk to the hotel room, so I ended up leading my brother, like, way out into a parking garage, into, like, a very unwalkable area of the New York, of the airport we were at. Like, and he's like, "I don't want to be here, this isn't good." So we ended up turning around and just calling an Uber at a terminal. But it was all, like, there was, basically, I think there was a hurricane, so a lot of flights were getting canceled. And so just everyone was, like, trying to, like, get out of the airport. So it was, like, 3 lanes of traffic. All of them were just full of cars. Like, it was, like, we called an Uber, and I just could not find the license plate because there were so many cars. Like, I was looking in the direction, like, yeah, our Uber's, like, right over there. But I like, just could not find it, which was really funny. It was really stressful. But anyway, so we found we found our Uber. We drove to the hotel room. Then we ordered pizza. And this is just a nitpick for the trip, but, like, I ordered pizza from Domino's, and then they said it was ready. And the restaurant was like, it was like 5 minutes away. They said it was ready, and then it took them 40 minutes to actually deliver it. Which is, like, some of the worst service I've ever seen. Like, they could have had stuff going on, but I don't know the restaurant. It had, like, 1-star reviews, so I don't know. I don't trust that too much. So we ate our pizza in the hotel room, and then I get a call from my parents, and they're like, "Hey, so our flight on the other side of New York in this airport we're at just got canceled, and we got moved into a flight tomorrow as well. And we're just going to come over to your hotel room now." So that was fun. So they showed up, and they were like, at this point we were like really sick and tired, so of like everything going on. So we just decided that we were gonna cancel our flights for tomorrow, get refunds, and then do a 7-hour drive back home instead of the 1-hour flight, just because we would have actually gotten home sooner. Because our flights were at, like, 1 p.m. and whatnot. And what we ended up doing is just sleeping, waking up at 4 a.m., and then just driving 7 hours back home. So it was... At the end of the day, it was a super long trip. Like, not the worst, you know, like, you hear horror stories of people traveling at airports where, like, people are, like, stranded and this and that. But this was just, like, a weird, bad experience that I just kind of wanted to talk about. And you might be wondering, like, oh, you know, like, all this is just, it's how airports work. It's not necessarily a problem with the French airlines and this and that. But, like, you see, my excuse here is that I really just need an excuse to bash on the French right now. Like, I just need an excuse. Like, I need a scapegoat, and I'm so sorry, but the Nice airport's where this all started. And it also gave me an excuse to play as the spy for this commentary, so... That's basically that's how it's going, you know. But you know, that's about all I have to say. You know, I can play this game. I can play TF2. We're gonna get a comic, and I got to rant about the French airlines and why they are single-handedly the worst organization, establishment. I don't know exactly what you call an airport. But yeah, it is just without a shadow of a doubt a horrible experience all around. And yeah, that's gonna do it. Have a good one.